Eric, this wood came out of this church, right?
Exactly.
That this guitar's made out of wood. Do you know what part of the church?
That
the nave, the axe?
Let's say it's the axe. So.
I really like what she did with the fingerboard.
Right. Yeah.
That's really nice work.
The church is an artist residency, exhibition space and creative centre in Sag Harbor. What we hope to do here is really allow people to think about the process of what it is to be creative, the process of culture in our society, and what it does for us both in the past and also into the future.
When we first bought the church, there were stained glass windows missing that had been repurposed or taken away to sell. The church was very stripped down, and you could see a lot of the raw wood. Between all of these stripes were strips of lath, and the wooden lath was what covered up the entire interior of the church. We've repurposed it so that it became an office, and we've used it for various other details in the church, some smaller and some quite major. When you come into the center of the church, you're immediately struck by the height, of course, and these incredible rafters. The wood in the church is 150 years old. It's pine. These beams are 50 feet long, many of them. We used architect Lee Skolnick, who's a wonderful person whom we've known for years and years and years. And we decided that we wanted a mezzanine structure that would wrap around and help celebrate the breadth of the space that you now enjoy when you're in the church. One of the beautiful things that happens when pine ages is that there's a beautiful resonance for sound. And we imagine there being a lot of intimate performances, talks, and engagements with the public that will barely need miking. The church was built in 1835, and it was originally located on High Street, which is about 5 blocks from this location. And in 1864, the congregation decided to move it. Various parts of the church needed steel reinforcement. A builder whom we'd known named Moises Cerdas, his crew took the most immaculate and creative care I can imagine. So I want to give him kudos for the work that he did. This library is a great example. This sits in the middle of the cupola, and one of the great things about it, floating shelves, rounded corners, the beautiful floating bookends, and you can see we're just starting to fill it up at this point.
One of the first things that I thought about was the tradition within churches to represent their saints and to put the mosaics or the stained glass or whatever it is in the windows of their sanctuaries. And so I thought, why not put our art saints? Three qualifications. One, they had to be dead, because I didn't want to deal with artists' egos and why am I not in there, or how come you put me next to so-and-so? Forget it, I don't want that. The second one was that they had to have a demonstrable relationship to Sag Harbor itself. They had to live here or practice here or whatever it was. And the third was that they had to have a career that had a national or an international impact. We found at least 100 to 150 people that deserved to be canonized on our windows, and so I thought maybe it would be nice I'll do the first 20 and then we'll get another artist to do the next 20, and we'll just kind of get that going as a way of getting our artists engaged in connecting to their legacy here.
So here we are on the ground floor of the church, which is again a very flexible, much less precious space than upstairs. And what you can see is this is a space which will be the studio and working space for the artists. It's deliberately flexible. We will be able to set it up in different ways. We've built movable walls that artists will be able to maneuver around. We have exposed the stone walls, which were built here when the church was moved in 1864.
I have to point out this incredible wall. This stone is particularly interesting because it is the same kind of stone that you find in Oakland Cemetery. Much of it is derived from ballast that came over in ships during the whaling days and the great merchant days of Sag Harbor. And the colors are very particular to the kind of colors that you see in other stone fences and details in Sag Harbor. And one thing that appeals to me about this wonderful outside space is that it's very friendly. It's like a tiny park in the middle of Sag Harbor that we hope the public will enjoy.
In many ways, the heart of the residency. This is where conversations can take place. The astonishing thing about what we do as creative human beings is that we never know where inspiration comes from. And that's why being exposed to different ideas, different individuals, different expertises is so important. We are looking forward to working with visual artists, writers, musicians, choreographers, dancers, and we're very excited about how some of those conversations can come together to inspire new work. In each of the rooms, we have these really wonderful panels which comes from a former artist supply shop, which was here in Sag Harbor. Signatures such as William de Kooning, among others. And so this is just a little nod to the cultural history of Sag Harbor, and one that we really are excited to add to and to continue that conversation. This door, in many ways, is a memorial to all of the corps of craftsmen who helped us to refurbish and bring back to life this magnificent building. There's an idea that artists are perhaps the best of us, or perhaps something different from us. But there is something about the process of art which is deeply human. That is something that we hope to be able to show here in all of its different ways. Obviously, you can see this is not a traditional space for showing art, and it's one of the things we're most excited about is thinking about new ways of installing art in this space. So this room will be very transformed, hopefully, the next time you see it.
Church music.